What's up, everybody? Circus here, coming at you with a deck update video. It's been almost a week since Gimmick Puppets hit the scene. The event, right? And then the new box is out, and Gimmick Puppets are at least hitting the tournament scene a little bit here, and we want to take a look at and see how they've been doing over the past 4 or 5 days. So I got Kamel in here because he did Battle Phase Rising Sun, Setting Sun, I guess we call it now. That's what we have on the screen here playing. So you've seen Gimmick Puppets in action. What do you think?
Well, yeah, there were a lot of Gimmick Puppets in that tournament, or at least we got to watch several players and their different takes on Gimmick Puppets.
Yeah.
And no surprise, the best performing one was, of course, Shiny Sophion, always popping off when bringing new decks.
Yeah.
But I was impressed and kind of let down by some aspects of Gimmick Puppets. However, let's start with what I did like.
Yeah, I was going to say, tell us the good part about it. Yeah, what was the good part?
First of all, the skill that Gimmick Puppets are utilizing, Relinquished Puppet, is probably one of the most powerful skills in Duel Links right now, and it is even more powerful than its predecessor of the similar kind. If you guys remember Mass Tribute, right?
Right.
Mass Tributes required you to send a card in your hand to the deck to summon play a monster. Relinquished Puppet lets you send a monster from your deck to the grave to play a monster. You get an insane amount of value, and Destroy has an amazing effect that lets you bring out more Gimmick Puppets from your hand.
So does it matter? Does it matter what you send from the deck to the grave? Is it any?
You have to send a level 8 Gimmick Puppet, and
is there a lot of synergy there?
Yes, because there is one specific Gimmick Puppet that you always want to send, and you play one of it to ensure that you do not draw it, and then you're always able to send it to the grave with this effect, and that is Gimmick Puppet Dreary Doll.
That's the one I always use in the thumbnails because it looks so creepy.
It is one of your main level 8 Xyz materials, and if it's in your graveyard, you can banish another Gimmick Puppet in your graveyard and then special summon it, and then you can keep utilizing this turn after turn after turn if you keep... As long as you have Gimmick Puppets in your graveyard to banish, because if you'll notice, this card does not have one of those effects where it says this is banished if it leaves the field after it. If it's destroyed, goes right to the grave, comes right back. You get an Xyz summon out, and yeah. So something I also... Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, can they Xyz fairly easily then? Because it's an Xyz deck. I mean, it's meant to Xyz, but with the cards that we have in the game, are they able to pull off their combo? As well as, like, Resonators, you know, they can synchro like there's no tomorrow. Harpies can get into Cyber Slash like there's no tomorrow. Can Gimmick Puppets do the same thing?
Yeah, I would say that they definitely can, and that is because of a choice of monsters that they took in their main deck, which I did not expect. People are actually using and playing Gimmick Puppet Gear Changer, the level 1 Gimmick Puppet that allows itself to change its level by targeting another Gimmick Puppet that you control. So this works very well with the Dreary Doll that we just talked about, or it works very well with Gimmick Puppet DaBaby, and that allows you to activate your effects without them being, chained to, and it is also a level 4, which allows you to go for one of your initial plays, which I haven't talked about, which is another thing about this deck that I really like. The rank 4 Xyz monster, Gigantus Doll, has a very, very impactful effect on the board, allowing you to take control of up to 2 of your opponent's monsters. Now, of course, this is not the end-all, be-all play for the deck, because then you're supposed to use those monsters to make your own rank 8 Xyz. But this in itself is a very powerful effect that your opponent is forced to play around before you go into your main play, which I do like, right? Having a built-in way to bait out your opponent's resources is always very necessary, especially when you're playing a deck that has to go to multiple boss monsters per turn, right? Or cannot just win the duel off of one monster.
So are they more of a going first deck or a going second? Because it sounds like the play you were just talking about, you'd want to go second, right? So your opponent has monsters on the field for you to steal, or do they want to go first?
So that'll be a great way to segue into the things that I do not.
No, I wasn't trying to do that. I was trying to build the deck up here. All right, so yeah, are they going first or going second?
So Gimmick Puppets are a 100% going second deck,
Okay.
they do not have a good turn. They do not have a turn one play.
And why is that?
A lot of people, well, Gimmick Puppets do not have a turn one play because their Xyz monsters that they go into do not have any interrupting effects on their opponent's turn. They do not have quick effects. They do not have built-in ways to limit your opponent's play. All of the Gimmick Puppet Xyz monsters affect things on the field when they are summoned, and that is when they are initially useful. So if you summon them when your opponents have no monsters, their effects have nothing to affect, and you just have beat sticks on your field while your opponent is able to, play going second and do whatever they want to your beat sticks that have no effects.
So you said they had no quick effects, so they can't even like do something on your opponent's turn. They're just sitting there
Right.
praying. So you have to have back row.
Great timing. What you're seeing on screen right now is the turn one play that people would say, right? And that is using the number 22 Zombie Stein. It is a
that thing's huge.
It's a 4,500 attack point monster with 1,000 defense. But what you're about to see here is actually a critical moment in the tournament in which Shiny Sophion is attempting to use Zombie Stein as their turn one play against the water deck. And you will notice that Shiny Sophion has no cards in their hands. And the card text of Zombie Stein reads that you must discard one card in order to negate a monster's effect and switch it into defense. So he is going to get Deep Sea Divid on right now and not be able to discard a card to negate the effect and lose the duel because Gimmick Puppets do not have a turn one play.
Okay. So even with a 4,500 attack monster out in the field.
Yes, exactly. It has no built-in defense. It does not even destroy a monster of whose effect it negates, and it switches itself into defense. It's got 1,000 defense, man. So this is definitely a going second deck. Going second, this deck does have a lot of pop-off and board wipe potential. The Gimmick Puppet Giant Grinder can destroy 2 special summon monsters. The Gimmick Puppet of Strings can put counters on all your monsters and destroy them next turn. Mm-hmm. However, you are able to make use of that. That is another thing I will say that, the boss monsters are very situational. And that does not pair very well with the fact that your main way to Xyz summon limits you to only summoning Gimmick Puppet Xyz monsters. So,
all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was going to say, well, let's take a look at some of the decks that are out now, because it seems like when I was looking at them, like the monster core is kind of set. I mean, there's a little bit of a variation, but it seems like no one can decide what their back row is going to be. Now, this is on the DLM website here. This is just what's gotten King of Games. Now, I'm going to say most of the people who have gotten King of Games so far with the deck are tournament players, so just keep that in mind. But as you can see, as we kind of scroll through here, definitely the expensive back row. You got your Book of Moons and stuff, but they're trying Pulse Mines. Obviously, that's because of the machine monsters, right?
Right.
Does any of this, like, when you look at this, is this gonna change? Like, are we gonna have to add like another archetype in here, or something to keep
something? I will say,
what's it missing?
Gimmick Puppets need to remain on their own, right? Okay. However, they do need better options for rank 8s.
Okay. Is that their biggest weakness?
Yes. Even though one of the main Xyz plays limits you to using only Gimmick Puppet Xyz monsters, I do believe if we had better rank 8s, overall more generally usable rank 8s, then they would have no problem, changing their strategy to summon them. But overall, the boss monsters, the end game of Gimmick Puppets, is very situational, and the deck is very dependent on you drawing into these tech cards, as you can see here. In this deck specifically, Advanced Draw, which is kind of what I would call a staple for this deck. I've seen it in almost every deck. Tribute 1 face-up level 8 or higher monster, draw 2 cards. And that is very good when you have Drury Doll that you can just summon from the grave for banishing Gimmick Puppet. Then you draw 2 cards off that. You can summon Magnet Doll from the hand, draw 2 cards off that. So that is amazing. And then this deck is also using Xyz Block, which just allows you to detach an Xyz material and negate a monster effect and destroy the monster. So while your monsters themselves do not have effects, this kind of gives you a little bonus effect. And this is where I think a lot of these Xyz trap cards, we have a couple of them in the game already. in a deck like this is where they're going to be seeing play because these guys summon monsters that have the archetype effects, but then they don't do much else.
I was
So
about
these,
to say that.
you know,
Is that kind of the limiting factor in this deck? Because we talk about this
yeah.
with other decks, like your engine needs to what? You need to draw, you need to be able to pop, you need to be able to negate. What does Gimmick Puppets do the best out of those
they
things?
they summon and they pop. They summon
Okay.
and they pop. That's what they do. They
But
summon
only
the
on
pop
their turn, right?
only on their turn.
Okay.
However, the Gimmick Puppet Strings pops in your opponent's end phase, but you don't really have any other ways to limit your opponent to make sure they're going to have those same monsters on the board to really get the full payoff from your effect. So there are just a couple things working against them, just the way that their cards work and the
Right.
fact that we don't have access to the more powerful things yet, like their chaos forms or more rank 8s, stuff like that.
I'm just thinking drawing is always a big thing, or searching. I'm just thinking harpies, you go in the perfumer. If you want, you can get like Feathers Rest, which allows you to, draw some cards,
Yes,
It just,
so
there's nothing
yeah.
like that here. I mean, if
Well,
you hard draw an advanced draw, then maybe you're okay, but there's no searching and then drawing and then
yeah, there's definitely not, and it does not make it any better that the skill Relinquish Puppet, right? This is a big thing that I saw. Even though it is a very good skill, the monster that you summon, Gimmick Puppet Destroy, its effect lets you, when it is destroyed, you get to summon 2 Gimmick Puppets from your hand.
okay.
From your hand, that's it.
Yeah,
Not from the deck,
not
not
from the
anything
deck.
else.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you are sucking all of your resources from your hand. You will be blowing through them extremely quickly, and if you have tech cards, expect yourself to have even less Gimmick Puppets in your starting hand. That's why people are running advanced draw. So when they come up short, they can see what they need to.
So overall, I would say it's still early, right? It's only been a week.
It is early.
I think there's plenty of time for the deck to get better, right? Or no? Are you saying no?
I think we need more cards, man.
More cards, more support.
They don't got enough juice. There's not enough juice here, They don't have enough going on, I feel.
Well, think about like Resonators. I'm not saying they're a bad deck, but then like a couple weeks later, people are starting to play like Heroes in Resonators, and it made the deck a lot better in a tournament setting, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe there's something like that down the road that's going to improve Gimmick Puppets.
Maybe. I really don't like the idea of mixing Gimmick Puppets with any other monster archetype at all. Like, I think what we're seeing here, the kind of teching and stuff that has to go along with them is in the spell and traps. The Xyz specific ones, that's really creative, and I like that idea. But you have to be drawing 3 to 4 Gimmick Puppets in your opening hand or across your first 3 turns. You cannot have your opening hand and draw dark machines that are not Gimmick Puppets, because they will not help you get other Gimmick Puppets, and your strategy is not going anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is why I believe it's going to stay pure.
All right, so in your opinion, not until we get better support or more support, right?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Gimmick Puppets are really fun, and if you can make them work, I do believe, relying on your spell and trap card core is not a problem at all for a deck. The deck is, it serves its purpose right now as a very strong turn 2 deck that takes advantage of, things your opponent leaves on the field. But outside of that, it's what you make of it. It has room to get stronger. It will down the road. I hope we get that rank up Magic stuff, because Gimmick Puppets will be able to benefit from that a lot if we have access to that stuff in the future.
Right. All right. Well, I hope you guys got a little bit from the discussion here. We're not saying it's bad. We're not saying it's good. It just is, So
yeah.
Let us know what you think in the comments below. For one, are you a Gimmick Puppet player? And if you're not, do you care? I care. I'm not a Gimmick Puppet player, but I want all these newer decks that are coming out. I want all of them to be good, because I want there to be like 20 options, because the biggest problem with the game for a long time, or a lot of times, there are people like, there's only 4 decks you can play, there's only 5 decks. I want there just to be just a multitude of decks, and whatever you want to play, it's going to be decent. So hopefully Gimmick Puppets is able to hang. Like we said, it's only been a week, so just relax. It's still early, but we like to take a look at things as they grow and progress. So Let us know what you think
And
of.
if you'd like a next up to date on or an update on how Gimmick Puppets are doing, check out the power rankings
Oh, there you go.
next week. We'll
See
see
if
if
they
they
got
do
some
any better than they
points.
did this week. Yeah, because they did not do great.
That's true. All right, let us know what you think in the comments below. We're going to get out of here, but you should get in the Discord. You know why? Because it's free. Tournaments are free. New player help is free. I'm Circus.
Right.
That's Kamel.
Peace out, guys.
And we'll see you next time.